Second, we're going to make sure that everything is working and give people the opportunity to join. So give me 1 minute here while we let everyone join in. And I do my sound check. Okay, let's see. We got sound? We do. We have sound. Wonderful. Okay, so what is up, everyone? I'm Brian, the beekeeping realtor, and today we're talking all about getting your older home for sale. Now, Western Washington, in particular, is a pretty special place. We have homes that are as old as 1900, I think, is the oldest home I've worked on. I don't think I've ever had the chance to work on a home from before the 1900s yet. If you've got one that you want to sell, I'd love to do it. They have all kinds of cool characteristics and quirks, but that's still a huge range. When I was licensed back in California, most homes were 1970s and newer. So by comparison, we have some old homes out here. New construction too, but that's not the subject of the day. So today we're going to talk about what you need to do because older homes can sell fast or they can completely sit on the market or even worse, fall apart at inspection. And most sellers either over renovate or they ignore the wrong things. So today we're going to break down what actually matters and what you should do, what you can do, what you need to know to get your homes sold. Now, one of the biggest challenges I'm having recently is that the market's going down. It's not like it was. We used to have people waiving all inspections and begging for a house. And now buyers are getting kind of bossy, kind of too bossy, if if you ask me. It used to only be that we would look at really big problems with homes. We're having a lot of buyers right now that are very nitpicky and very worried about overspending. So the psychology and the way that buyers are engaging with homes is different than it was just 1 or 2 years ago. The general goal is to have buyers expecting there to be some issues, but having them not surprised. So, first, let's talk about improvements that matter. Look, right now, contractors, they cost a fortune. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you. Almost anything you touch on your house is like $15,000. And you're not always going to get $15,000 back, right? So when we're looking at listings, let's see here really quick. I had a couple of examples, but they've gone away. When we're looking at homes, we're going to come across really an emotional feeling when it comes to most buyers. Okay. Where'd we go? Why is it doing that? All my stuff is acting clunky. This one has. Just looking for a home that kind of fits exactly what we're talking about here, really quick. Didn't have a lot of time to prepare. I actually just came from showings, which is so awesome. I love how many people in our community are reaching out to me for showings. But my gosh, it's hard to prepare for all of our marketing when we're so busy doing the actual job. Okay, these two will work. So when we're looking at homes for buyers, what most buyers are going to see. Let's get rid of this guy. most buyers are going to see window this one share. They're going to see this, right? They're going to see their Zillow page. Now, the thing with the Zillow page is that there's no smell-o-vision. There's no big picture of the home. It's just literal pictures, right? Maybe some property description. Some people read it. Most people don't really care. Most people are making a decision quickly based on pictures. People aren't looking at the HVAC, right? They're looking at how aged the kitchen looks compared to maybe something like this that's got a metal roof. It's a little more modern. So when buyers are shopping, they're looking at the price, bed, bath, square foot. You can't do anything about that. And the pictures. Okay. When we compare this kitchen to this kitchen, this isn't a bad kitchen, but it does look older. All my windows are just not cooperating right now. There we go. Okay. So when we're preparing a home, we're not, as a buyer, looking at this being like, oh, wow, look at that water heater. Oh, wow, look at the condition of that roof. Oh, look at the wood rot. That doesn't get people in the door. People care, but not until inspection. Okay. So the most important thing when we're starting is stuff that makes the house look pretty that doesn't cost much. What are the best ways to do that? Lighting fixtures, paint, flooring, right? Deep clean. When a house looks clean, it makes a big difference. When we look at a house like this one, did I break everything again? Where'd my video go? There we go. We look at a house like this one, look at all the stuff in the house, right? Now, I'm not saying it's unsellable because there's stuff in it. And they did move stuff around for the pictures. But when we did the showing, I don't know if it's going to let me zoom in on this enough. No, it's not going to. Countertops are absolutely covered with stuff. You get hit with the smell of the dogs and with the just absolute look of clutter, which really shouldn't dissuade buyers, but it absolutely does. It absolutely does, okay? So what we want to focus most on are small things because most buyers are going to decide emotionally if they care about the house in about 10 seconds. Those are the things we want to really work on. So we want to do, again, paint, flooring, lighting, cleaning, decluttering. Another really popular one that I really like is anything they're going to touch, doorknobs, handles, anything like that. If they're grabbing the doorknob and it's jiggly and doesn't really work, it leaves a feeling. What we're battling up front when we're dealing with buyers is feelings more than the actual value of the home, more than the actual function. Okay. So what we don't want to do usually is we don't want to do, oh, where'd it go? Even though I'm saying the kitchen looks older, we don't want to do a full remodel of this kitchen wherever it went. Okay. We don't need to do that. Full kitchen remodel, dollar for dollar return, not going to be like carpet, paint, lights. Okay. If it's even there. Right now, to redo a kitchen, and this one isn't bad. Like, we can find some bad ones if we really dig. But to redo a kitchen, you're looking like $20,000 to $40,000. It's not going to increase the home value that much. If we want to make this kitchen look new without doing a lot, we can paint the cabinets, put some handles on them. Looks like a new kitchen. Okay. What we don't want to do is high-end finishes. Okay. Most people are looking for value. Now, if you're looking at fixing up your luxury listing, a little different. Okay. But just because you put a big expensive stove in or some really expensive countertops, it's not going to bring you a lot more money than if you put in just a regular countertop. Okay. So usually we want to reduce our over custom upgrades, our big high-end finishes, and things that buyers generally don't care about. We don't really want to focus on functional stuff. Okay. Yeah, we might need to put a new roof on the house eventually. Yeah, we might need to fix some plumbing at some point, but that shouldn't be the focus of what you're doing. We want to focus on the easy cosmetics. Okay. On that same subject of the big repairs, let's talk about the old stuff. How do we handle it? There's going to be some really old stuff like knob and tube wiring, maybe GFCIs, plumbing, an old roof, some old HVAC, if there's even HVAC. Some old houses don't have HVAC at all. What are we going to do about that stuff? Again, for the most part, the return isn't there. And buyers are not making decisions on their offer or if they want the home based on those items. So if you take the time to throw a new roof on the house, you're going to spend the $15,000, $20,000 to do that. Now the buyers are going to focus on the next most important thing that the home needs in order to buy it. So in general, for functional items, I usually recommend not touching it. There can be exceptions sometimes, but for the most part, let's say we're looking at, let's say we're looking at a random house. This house, I don't care which house we're looking at. We're not actually talking about this house. Okay, we're making up a situation. There's nothing wrong with this house. It's a great house. It's got a little moss on the roof. Let's pretend the roof is old. Most buyers are not going to make a lower offer or a not offer because the roof is old or because the water heater is old or because there's weird electrical. Okay, that's not usually going to happen. What will happen is they'll make an emotional offer based on how the home looks. They'll get an inspection done, and at the inspection, they'll be like, wow, the roof is shot. We're not buying the house unless the roof is fixed. If the roof is already fixed, because it's the biggest item, when they come to their inspection terms in this dream situation where we've already replaced the roof, now that thing that's second on the list is first on the list, right? Makes it more important, makes them want to do it more. So when we're talking about functional things, we typically want to leave them alone and work on them when the buyers request it, if the buyers request it. And they might not even request it. They might request maybe it to be cleaned or maybe to be patched because they're afraid to ask for a full replacement. So when we're looking at big, expensive functional items, we still might have to do it, but we typically want to do it when it's requested, not preemptively, okay? There are exceptions if there's things that's going to completely blow up a type of financing. Hey, maybe the paint looks so bad on the outside that it's now become functional. It's still cosmetic, right? We want to make sure that we're fixing things that buyers will see and that will be freaked out about, which I think is still kind of in the cosmetic realm. Like if there is a big stain on the ceiling because there was a leak or is a leak, I'm not saying cover it up. We're still probably going to need to replace the roof, but make it look good, right? So that they'll have the emotional purchase. So for the most part, what we're focusing on are making people feel good, okay? Now this house in particular, I just looked at it and they've got old stinky carpet. They have their stuff all around the house and the stuff doesn't smell great, okay? So my clients kind of walked in, looked at it and walked out. Why? Well, there's really bad smells in there. It smells like dog, really like strongly of dog. They don't have a dog. They're not completely convinced that if they clean that house, that the dog smell will come out. So now they're thinking about ripping up carpet. They're thinking about how maybe they might have to replace the pad. They're thinking about how they're going to have to paint over a bunch of dog stuff, dog like scratches in the paint and chewed on things. They look out in the yard. The yard, I think it looks good in the pictures. It's splotchy. Why? Again, dog, right? You want to get your yard cleaned up because people don't want to think about, they don't think about the functional things until the appearance part, the cosmetic part is giving them trouble. Might be worth it to pressure wash. Again, don't go crazy, but a good soft wash on the outside of a home can make your home shine and make people feel good about it. Feel like it's clean, feel like it's shiny. Same kind of thing with the driveway where they're just parking. Make sure that the space there, right, when they come in is good. I've seen many, many times where people pull up to a house, say nope, and leave. They don't even go inside, okay? So you want to make sure that your first impressions in all of the cosmetic ways are good. Now, something that I get often, I need to close this guy. How do we close this guy? Stop. Hey, I'm back. What I get often is, should we inspect our home before we list? Personally, I think yes, pretty much every time. The more that you know, the better. But let's talk about the pros and the cons. Cons first. When an inspector goes through your home, they're going to give an opinion of what they believe is wrong with the home. For example, just had a home inspection, and the inspector put the dog door on the inspection report, saying that the dog door is not compliant with rules and is a hazard. We're not always going to agree with the inspector. And when we invite an inspector out, we are potentially inviting an opinion that we do not agree with. Another thing is that no two inspectors are the same. One inspector might say the dog door is the greatest hazard known to man, and another inspector might not even put the dog door on the inspection. So you are inviting, to a certain degree, some discrepancy on small items and some potential for some drama on some small items. My personal stance for sellers is that if someone is requesting something small, such as the dog door, the answer is no, right? My personal opinion is that if someone has an inspection before they make an offer, the offer should consider the inspection. There should not be surprises. There should not be new items requested because you have the information while writing the offer, okay? So in my opinion, and the way that I handle deals, I think that you should pretty much always get an inspection because it'll catch the big things that maybe we do need to fix. It'll help us prevent deals from falling out of escrow. But there is some risk associated. A little bit. I think it's very manageable risk, but more than none. So the biggest things, again, we're looking at is it's going to help us figure out if there's any known issues. It's going to give us control over the negotiation. It's going to possibly open us up to some minimal concerns that we don't care about. And it allows us to fix things or at least disclose things as clearly as we can. Now, what kind of inspection issues do we care about? I care about the expensive things, the big things. Electrical, plumbing, structural concerns, septic and well problems, roof problems, potentially mold, moisture, crawl space issues. We get a lot of leaky pipes in crawl spaces, things like that are pretty common that people will call out. Those are the types of things that I generally care about. I don't generally care about things like GFIs being ungrounded or, again, dog doors, certain things like that, right? And it does help call out items that we may need to do for certain types of financing. For example, if there's a bunch of chipping paint and the inspector catches it, we're gonna have to fix that chipping paint if we're considering FHA or especially VA loans. So an inspection might help us actually filter out what types of loans we are and are not willing to consider. Now let's talk pricing strategy. Let's hop back into our screen share here. When we look for a home, what do? We hop on this price page and we typically say something like, it's showing rentals. Typically look at something like, I'm looking for something between 550,000 and 600,000, right? That'd be a pretty normal type of search. We're in rentals, so it's just sales. That'd be a normal type of search, right? We're looking, most people are looking in price ranges. they're not looking for something. Why is that having such a hard time? For sale, 500, 600,000. Doesn't matter. Most people are looking in windows, okay? They're not looking at something that is $351,000, right? They're not looking at 299, 999,999, right? They're not doing that. So when we are setting prices, the first thing I want to really suggest is that we try to intelligently put ourselves within windows. Again, I really, really dislike homes that are listed in weird increments, because if we're looking at this again as like a 500,000 to 600,000 apply. Why is it breaking it? There's just no homes in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. That can't be right. Move boundary. I wonder what we got wrong here. This is weird. There's one. Oh, there we go. There's a problem. Okay, so let's say we're looking in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. We have all 19 of these, right? But just out of curiosity, if I change this to 490, if we go $500,000, we go $490,000. Look at all these that are not quite 500. I hate that. I hate that because anyone looking 500 plus, 500 to 550, they're not seeing all of these homes. These are all invisible to that buyer. And that buyer might be stoked to find a home for 500. They're just not looking. So you need to be really careful with that. That's my first biggest tip. Now, we want to price a home like it's fully fixed, okay? Even if it's not. We're going to care about condition in kind of like every home is basically priced as though everything works, because that's the assumption. Don't price it lower because the roof is old. Don't price it lower because the HVAC is old. Don't price it older because the electrical needs work. That isn't what buyers are looking at. They're looking at the cosmetic. You might have to give a big credit because of those items, but don't change the price based on functional parts. Base it on the cosmetic one-to-one. Now, right now, homes that are priced high, like let's say this home is $495, really it should have been $475, but what the heck, let's price a little high and see what happens. I'm going to spoil it for you. What happens is nothing. You get no showings, you get no offers. You sit there wondering what the heck is going on. And then you drop the price to $475, and then someone comes in with an offer at $465. Versus if you offer it at $465, right when it's the market, 3 buyers are excited. You get 3 offers, and now you're getting $475, $485 because they're outbidding each other. So we don't want to come in super underpriced. That doesn't do us any good either. We want to be fair to slightly low. If we go 10 or 20 high, your home's going to sit. Nothing's going to happen. We want to see 3 to 5 showings a week, especially in town. 5 plus a week would be awesome. But we want to see at least 3 showings every single week. That means we're priced right. If we're seeing no showings, not priced right. Gotta lower it. And when we lower the price, they're usually not going to offer you asking. They're usually going to offer you less than asking, and maybe even ask for closing costs and other stuff on top, because they're going to come from the position of, well, we're your only offer. What are you going to do? Go back on the market? Don't give the buyers that much power. Price a little low, okay? Now, let's have a real talk for a second. I've seen rough homes sell because expectations were right. I've seen deals fall apart over $500 fixes. Okay. It's not about getting your house perfect, it's about making it predictable. Buyers don't want to spend money on and energy and hopes and dreams and their scheduling on something they hope is right. They want something that they can understand, get their mind wrapped around, and feel prepared. They don't want surprises, they want predictability. So when you're getting your home on the market, make sure that you're documenting everything well. Make sure that you are aware of what you have going on with your home. Make sure you don't look like you're trying to hide things. Make sure, especially, that you're not hiding things. The more transparent and predictable we can make the process, the better your process is going to be, the stronger your offers are going to be, the happier your buyers are going to be. So if you have listings that you're looking for some feedback on, drop them in the comments. I'd love to take a look and see what we got going on. Do we have any comments yet? I think it's been pretty quiet on this stream. Does anyone have questions, comments, concerns, feedback? If you do, we can always talk about your listings and what's working, what's not working. But if you want a prep plan for your listing, pricing strategy, everything that you need to know to get your home on the market, let me know. Send me a message, call Castro, text Castro, whatever works. Texting is usually easiest. I know I have call Castro and everything, but texting you just can't beat, man. It's there on your phone right in front of you and you have to get back to it. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about getting your home sold in this crazy, crazy market, things that you should be doing, things that you shouldn't be doing, you know what to do. Call Castro. We'll talk to you soon.